Welcome to the Champion Blueprint Podcast, where mindset meets mission.
We're diving into what it really takes to lead, win, and live with purpose.
From NFL locker rooms to boardrooms, it's all about discipline, core values, and the habits that build champions.
Whether you're leveling up in business, life, or leadership, this is your playbook.
Champion your mindset.
Champion your purpose.
Let's go.
And we're back, Champion Blueprint, the podcast. Once again, George Rogers here with the champ, Gary Brackett. How we doing today, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Had to watch a great game.
Yes, sir.
Over the weekend.
Yes.
IU pulled it out, man.
You know, it's funny because it's Indiana has gone through a lot this year. Over the last year, it's like I saw a post that's like, man, had to sacrifice, Pacers sacrifice Halliburton. It looked like the Fever were going to do it. And it was like, nope. Fever, we had to sacrifice a lot of injuries there. Yeah. Caitlin Clark, the main dog over there at the Fever, went down. And Colts started out 7-1. On fire. And then we got an injury to our quarterback. It was like, and for me, in all honesty, and everybody knows you with the Rutgers, I'm a big Buckeye fan. But, man, it's so beautiful for the state and the city.
No question.
And it was just like, for me, I was like, all right, let me prepare my family and I got cousins and friends that went to IU alumni. I'm like, listen, I'm ready for this is what happens. The letdown. Yeah. Injury's going to happen. But, man, they pulled it off. Shout out to Kurt Sig, Mendoza, all the dogs over there, Fisher, linebacker, doing work. Absolutely. And they pulled it off, man. They went to the U. And,
to the U.
Man, got some closure.
It's crazy. When I went to school, 2003 is when I graduated, 98 when I went there, but Big East Conference, Miami was the big dog, right? Yep. And then Indiana has always been like, the stepchild in college football. And seeing that transformation over the years, Coach Zanetti is amazing. I think that's what we're going to talk about a little bit about today.
Yeah, the power expectations, because he came in there. It's not that somebody expected something out of him, right? They've had a lot of good coaches come across and just couldn't really turn it around, right? The culture was a culture. The expectation was, not to be at the bottom, right? Yeah. Like, how can we get some good momentum going? But Coach Sid came in and right off the rip, at the basketball game, he told everybody how he felt about Purdue. Right. He looked at it and looked at the camera and said, not just Purdue, but Michigan sucks. Yeah. Ohio State sucks. And the standard was his standard. So I want to talk a little bit about this, as we have a little bit of time off of this, is about how to turn really the unthinkable, right? Thinking about IU, all you've seen over SportsCenter. In fact, outside of Pat McAfee, everybody on the
picked against
game day.
I was surprised. Yeah, Marcus Freeman with all the dye in his hair.
Yeah, Michael Freeman. I was a little disappointed because as a Buckeye, I was like, man, he literally said, "Listen, we got to play Miami next year. I don't want to give them any bullet board material." Right. No. Set the standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach Sig,
I ain't scared of y'all.
Yeah, Coach Sig last year was at the Big Ten Championship saying, I'm here because we're going to be here and win this thing next year. Yeah. Like, he set a crazy standard. And when you set that expectation and when you set that standard, it changes everything, whether it's in your workplace, your culture, your family life, your business. If you set a standard and say, hey, listen, there's nothing below, right? We're setting goals. We talked the last couple of weeks about how to maintain, how to pivot those goals and everything. And today we're saying how to set a standard. Now, let's clarify, because we talked about this before we went live, is I don't expect anything from another person because expectations is where disappointment is created for me. Right. And so when it comes to birthday parties, when it comes to Christmas, when it comes to, holidays, I just don't have any expectation because I hate the feeling of, well, that didn't meet the standard. Yeah. Or, hey, that's not what I expected, right? Or I was expecting something more, right? Yeah. And so from that standpoint, we're talking from a business or if you're in a marriage or you're about to be in a marriage, we're talking about that ship type of thing. We're talking about leadership. Like, how do we set the culture? How do we set the expectation of, hey, we're no longer going to justify just being another team, just being another company, justify being another small business and like, this is our role, this is our, clientele, we can never reach this. Yeah. When you have the right leadership, you can change that standard, change that culture, change that mindset, and set that standard. Now with IU, Gary, nobody's saying, hey, you can go out and just win 3 games or 5 games, or maybe we can get to the bowl. Yeah. The standard is conference championships and playing for playoffs in the playoffs.
And it's crazy how people think it's crazy until it's done.
Yep.
When Cincinnati was talking the way he was talking, people were like, what? Out of IU? You're crazy.
You ain't never coached in the Power 5. You ain't never done anything.
You can't do
what
this.
Are you talking about? IU out of all schools.
You got JMU transfers.
Yep.
Like, how are they going to be?
Yep.
But this is the thing, and this applies in his situation at IU, applies in your businesses, it applies in your life. If you believe, right,
Yep.
and you're stubborn about that belief, and your habits and your processes and your actions, like let others believe,
Yep.
not necessarily what you believe, but believe that you really believe it.
Yeah.
They'll jump on board.
Yeah. Yep. It's as almost, and you always say be stubborn. What's your quote on being stubborn about your?
Yeah, stubborn about my goals, flexible about my methods.
You almost have to be stubborn about those goals and flexible about your methods, but it's the stubbornness about your goals that makes you look crazy until the crazy actually happens.
No doubt.
Right? And so expectations really change the outcome, and it goes from hope to like certainty. Like a lot of fans was hoping that, I hope he's right. I hope he does this. And man, we're talking about the largest ticket sales, like minimal. You're paying $2,300 to sit in the nosebleed to see certainty.
They did well
Right?
financially.
And listen, certainty has no price tag.
Yeah.
When you're just hoping for something, $2,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But when you start believing in the crazy things, the goal and the standard, certainty has no setbacks. Like you're all in, no matter what it is, whether it's physically, emotionally, financially, you're invested in that thing to be able to move forward. Let's talk a little bit about these extraordinary results, because we've seen them in the business life. We've seen them for you on the field, where it doesn't just start with talent. It's something that's like got to be reinforced within your discipline habits, like setting those goals. But what are the discipline things? What are the things that we have to do to get to those goals? In terms of these things are non-negotiable, right? Mm-hmm. And for him, he has a powerful statement, a quote that's really like everywhere you go when he's been interviewed. Like these are the principles, right? We're going to play for 6 seconds. Right. We're not going to be determined or dictated about success or failure. We're on to the next play. Like he has a standard that they like. These are non-negotiables for every player. What are some non-negotiables in any ship that like even if it was something simple, right? That you can apply in a relationship, you can apply in a business, you can apply on the field. Like these are 3 disciplines that you got to have. For him, he's like, listen, success or failure, out the doors, on to the next one, right? That's one. What are some other ones?
Yeah, I think give everything you have, every opportunity you have it.
Yeah.
I think some people, I see this a lot now in kids' sports where people almost sandbag and hold back. Well, I wasn't really trying that hard.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like that could kind of justify the fact that you didn't make it. Well, if I really tried, I think I could do it. Well, I want you to really try.
Yep.
Like this year.
0 to 100.
I want you to really try. I want you to, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail type of, try.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that's truly important in ships. The second thing is accountability.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I'm a little different. I do have expectations, and I want people to be accountable to themselves.
Yeah.
If we have this relationship where we carve out time to meet, right? Be prepared on what we're going to talk about, be on time, let me know what's going on, and we have this working relationship that works really well because we respect each other's time, respect is everything. So I think those things are critical when you're building those foundations of having that expectation.
Yeah. Cignetti, he didn't sell hype. I know a lot of things that he said was like, it gets people hyped, especially as a fan when you have a coach come in there and have those sound bites. But he was never selling hype. He was selling really the standard of what he wanted. He was selling his foundation of what it took, what he learned from Nick Saban in Alabama. And a lot of people don't realize, like when Saban took the Alabama job, Cignetti was there. Cignetti was the one that helped recruit Julio Jones to help develop him as a receiver right down in there. So he's been there just because he got to the age where he wanted to be a head coach and he went down and took the IUP job. Right. Nobody that's not where you want to start.
Right.
But he had his own trajectory that didn't look like a normal assistant coach or wide receiver coach that was good that went to a Ball State or somewhere to be able to grow in a Boston College where you see a lot of people kind of get some of these first time jobs and gigs. It didn't look like that for him. And so for me, it wasn't necessarily selling hype. It was selling the standard of, hey, these are our values, right? You talked about accountability. That's a value that's non-negotiable. We're going to keep each other accountable. If we don't meet the standard, if we're not doing everything it takes to hit the expectation, I got to hold you accountable. And the thing about accountability is sometimes it stings. Yeah. Like the truth hurts, right? But also the truth heals. Yeah, no question. If there's accountability there where Gary can say, hey, George, man, this is our expectation. This is what we're doing. Right. We both got business. We're both running things, but this is the expectation. I got to be able to look you in the eye and say, you know what? That's on me. Yeah. Right. And the standard is the standard. I respect it. And so you got to be able to have that accountability. A lot of times where there's culture, the accountability is not good. Right.
It's not a struggle. We talked about this. It was like teams, back on college football, they have these rules like don't be late to meetings. Mm-hmm. And if you're late, there's going to be consequence. You're going to get kicked off the team. All this rah-rah talk. And then sometimes players are late that are maybe not as significant, maybe a walk-on, maybe third string, something like that. Yeah. And you'll see him get, disciplined, crazy, off the team. But then a starter or someone else comes late, and it's a different rule. Yeah. And the whole team kind of is like,
what's going on?
What's the rule? Right? And I agree, treat everyone fair and not equal. But at some point, there got to be standards that everyone sets and everyone meets. Like if we have a meeting and companies all the time, they meet, right? Yeah. And it's like, no, if we have a meeting, send out the agenda, right, a day or so before, so everyone can come to the meeting prepared on what we're going to discuss. And I'm just not asking you for information that you don't have. Like it should be at your fingertips because this is what we're going to discuss in this meeting.
Yep. It's, you said the whole, who can be late, who can't be late. I always used to live by this since it was 2009. I heard this quote and it stuck with me. Others may, but I may not. Right. You get to a place of leadership or maybe you're not at that place. Yep. Others may, but I may not. What does that look like? As a leader, others may be able to go out and do things and stay out late. If I got responsibilities the next morning, I can't do all those things, right? And so others may, but I may not. There's a standard that you have to live by, and it's so important that you realize who you are, right?
And it's funny you say that. We talk about it a little bit, and obviously, shout out to everyone who has a podcast, everyone who's sharing information, entertainment with the world. Yeah. But we live by certain standards with our vernacular, and as professional speakers, that there's some things we can't.
Others may not. It's not like we don't have strong verbiage in the toolbox, right?
No doubt.
Or we control it. We can talk. I mean, we can add a lot of drama and spice, but we set a standard. And I remember as the first. If you go back, look at the first episode.
Absolutely.
Right before we went live, it was like, "Hey, this is gonna be." Gary said, "George, I want a clean podcast." Yeah. And the first line came out of my mouth was ships. You thought I said something else. Gary's like, "Oh, hey." I was talking about all different types of ships. Right. SHIP.
No doubt.
Yes. And so, the standard is a standard. And so we want to target a certain crowd. But also, it's not just something that we put a mask on this thing. This is how we talk. This is who we are. No doubt. From a leadership standpoint. Now, if you flip the wrong switch in my life, I can't. Yeah, it's still in me. Yeah. Hallville is still in the souls, right? I still got a little bit left, but it's been contained for so long. It takes a lot to ruffle that feather a little bit. Yep. But to go back, you don't rise to the level of your goals, right? That's been there. You fall to the level of your expectations, and so setting an expectation is important. The most glaring thing to me, Gary, that I want to talk about. And I don't know if there was a team that you feel like, man, during your coach tenure where it's like we're far away from where we need to be based on competition, based on the standard of these people representing the AFC in the championship games, going to the Super Bowl. But Coach Sig turning things around and set a new standard. I want to talk a little bit about the transformation because ways to transform without compromising as well. Like as an individual, right? You get a new leader come in, but you have your own values. You have your own goals. But what he did is transformation was not quiet for him. Transformation was loud. Yep. Sometimes you can have a coach come in and say, hey, this is who we are. Now listen, we're going to be professional on the microphones. We're not going to give anybody any bulletin board material, no sound bites. And then you have a coach that comes in and says, listen, be confident in who you are. Be confident in our standard. And speak your talk your talk. But we're going to walk the walk and because this is our standard.
Yep.
Where's your balance at? Is Gary a talker or is Gary like, do you like to talk your talk?
Yeah.
Or do you like to move in silent and just show up and say, this is who I am once they feel you? You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. It's funny. I feel like I'm both because when I'm fortunate to be captain on teams at Rutgers. I was captain on team at the Colts my third year, right? Yeah. Which is crazy to think because there's like 7 Hall of Famers on that team. Yeah. And I'm thinking for sure it's going to be somebody else as the captain that represents you guys. Like I'm the Mike linebacker, so I have to talk. But I think and even before I had got the captainship, just in the leadership role, like I wanted to talk and hold people accountable for how we practice, running to the football, understand your assignments, running. But I wanted to lead the charge. I think the most powerful thing a leader could say, like in one of those situations, is follow me.
Yeah.
Like follow my lead.
Yep.
Right. And when you see the LeBrons of the world, the Kobe's, it's just electrifying on how they're able to elevate everyone else. So I think Kirk Cinetti, and if you ask his players, he's probably never late to a meeting. He's probably never unprepared. Yep. He's very consistent in what he does. And when you look at that, you be like, you know what? And Coach Dungy was like that. Coach Caldwell was like that. Right? Coach Shiano. And when these men are like this, it's easy for people to follow and create that belief system.
Yeah.
Because I've been on teams at Rutgers where we won 6 games my whole 4 years. Wow. Right? So talk about character building. And even when we were winning against teams, our belief system was always like, we're going to find a way to lose. It's like you start a podcast that like Indiana, like this happened, that happened, right? And that doubt is infectious, right? Because you're on the sideline.
You're just expecting it.
You just like, this about to go. But then when someone changes that in you, that like, no, we're going to win this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a way to win. I'm going to find a way to make a play. Man, that's really infectious. And you see, and the great thing to see with the IU team is just not one player. Yeah, Mendoza is great. He's a Heisman Trophy. I'm sure that run 4th and 5, right? It's going to be the trail on Hoosiers 2.
Man, there's so much history in that run, bro. You know the history of that run?
He ran over the dude that hit him.
Yeah, so last year before Mendoza transferred to IU, he played at Cal.
Oh, yeah, that was Cal.
And 31 from Miami put a hit on him. Right. Some call it a little dirty hit underneath the chin, helmet in there, but put a strong hit and knocked him on his back. Like he was crawl up. That same guy in that, what I call the defining moment of that game. Yeah. The punt was the ceiling moment.
Yeah.
The defining moment for the Heisman Trophy winner, the first ever in IU.
Yeah.
The first ever undefeated basketball and undefeated football team champions in college history is at Indiana University. That's another shout out. Shout out to that history. But that defining moment where he jumps over his lineman, lowers his shoulder, puts the boom on the guy, and that boom is the same dude that laid him out a year before. It's like that redemption. Yeah. And then he lays his life on the line, diving. Yeah. And takes another, 2 shots. Right?
Exposes his whole.
Exposing, like letting it out. That's the standard that Coach Sig did 4 things. He said, we're always going to practice tempo. Yep. Like this whole, we believe in the scientific, gym that all these things, we're going to eat healthy, we're going to take care of our bodies, but we're going to always practice tempo. He said we're always going to be accountable. Something you always said, the language. We're going to speak our language, right? This is the culture we're going to have, and we're going to commit to our daily habits. Like that's the turnaround, right? So the turnaround wasn't just about winning games. The turnaround was really about how do we reset our identity, and that was like their identity. Like there's. I'm already looking at the November game, Ohio State versus IU. I know this ticket's going to be expensive, but the identity for me now has changed. Like, it's just not little brother IU. No. And we're going to take over and have 35,000 people up in that stadium. The takeover is gone. Yeah. Right? The takeover of IU, being able to show up and get a $50 ticket.
Nah, absolutely. and how big IU's alumni is, right? Yep. I mean, they are woken up for sure, and rightfully so.
Yep. And so, for me, the change of this team, the change of this culture is not a basketball. It reminds me of your days with the Colts. Is that Indiana has always been it's 49 states is basketball, but this is Indiana. It's more than like this. Indiana is basketball like this, but We saw in your era with the Colts where it became a football town. Indiana going over from basketball to a football town, and it happened fast.
Yeah.
How fast is too fast to change expectations? Is there a timeline, or like if you're so used to losing, like a losing culture?
Yeah.
Is there a too fast type deal? Do you lose people that may be good?
Yeah.
Like even from a business standpoint, like you come in and say, all right, now that I've tasted this success, if we crank this up 10x,
yeah,
who am I going to lose? Is it worth losing good people to get to the standard that you desire?
Yeah. So what's unique about Cignetti and his situation and how college football is structured right now is with the NIL, with the transfer portal, he was able to bring in 40, 50.
Yep.
I mean, so he's able to essentially flip the whole roster.
Yep.
With businesses, it's a lot tougher because you can't flip.
You can't bring everybody from
if
your
you got
phone.
100 people, at your organization, it's kind of hard to get rid of 60, 70 of them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the advantage that he had, and that's why it happened so immediately.
Yeah.
Because those old people that's thinking that the last regime had and was, adopted by the players,
Yeah.
I think that was gone once you brought those people in. So that's why I feel like, sometimes it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out thing in regards to expectations and ramping up to those expectations.
Right.
You get the right situation, like that can happen immediately.
Yeah. I always say, like, when it comes to culture, especially in the workplace, that's something fast. Like, as a leader, I'm coming in because slow clarity creates fast confusion.
Yeah.
Right? Slow clarity creates fast confusion.
Wow.
And so I don't want to have slow clarity. When it comes to clarity, when it comes to communication, when it comes to culture, slow, any of those three creates fast confusion. And I don't want any confusion over our communication. I don't want any confusion on the clarity of who we are and what we're going to be, right? I don't want any confusion over the culture that we're expecting, because the culture starts with me as a leader, right? How I am going to appreciate you, how I'm going to create the psychological safety, how I'm going to create the trust, how I'm going to create this reinforcement, right? How I'm going to create this communication level. Now, any of that is a perfect no. But there's an expectation and a standard to pursue excellence in everything that we do, say, and expect within this organization, right? And so, like, I don't want any slow clarity. I want it to be very, very quick, right? And so the standard for me then must be visible, reinforced, right? And then enforced on the back end. I want to wrap up with this last thought, because now that the standard is the standard, sustaining. He literally said this on one of the 50 different post game shows that he talked about. And I messaged a couple of my family members, messaged Allie, I messaged Justin, and I'm telling them they're all IU, former IU alumni, and I'm saying, listen, this is the standard now.
Yeah.
Championship or bust is the standard.
Yeah.
How do you, now it's about sustaining expectations when success shows up. Like, success is there now.
Yeah.
It's not about this is what we want to do or this is what we're going to do. This is what we did. How do you sustain that? We're talking about like how 14-1, 13-0 seasons, 12-0, multiple 10-0 starts for the Colts. Like that became the expectation.
Yeah. The crazy
how
thing.
do you sustain it?
We were successful, the most successful team of any team in any decade, right?
Yep.
The Indianapolis Colts from 2010 to 2020. I was there from 03 to 10. Happened to play a part in that. When we won a Super Bowl championships in 2006, 2007, that season in Chicago, and this was pretty much the case, but especially that next season, it did not matter what the record was of the other team.
Yeah.
We were going to receive everyone's best shot.
Yeah, you were the standard.
Everyone was like, this is the team on the top of the mountain, on the top of the hill, and we're gonna do everything we can to bring them down. And because of that, right, how it works is, the TV, right? They're gonna have a whole bunch of primetime games next year. And other teams will be playing against them on primetime games. So all that comes into it. So for us, our mantra was, it's us versus us. Right? Yeah. If the enemy within could do you no harm, right, the enemy outside doesn't have a chance.
Yep.
So for us, it was like really staying disciplined, staying, accountable to those processes, to those systems that got us here, right? Not believing the hype, and just understanding that what it took to get there, it's going to take even more to stay there.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say winning is easier than staying elite, right? Mm-hmm. When the standard is the standard for the Colts, like, hey, we're going to play 4 quarters. We need to win 4 of these games. Like, we got to win 3 and 1 of each. Like, worst case scenario is 3 and 1. If we do that, we're sitting good. We're 12-4. We more than likely in the top seed, if not the second seed during that era. The Cignetti memes. His happy face, his sad face, his confused face, his happy, like it's always the same. It's always the same. And what I love post game, and I wrote this down, is that to stay consistent, to have this sustainability within his culture and organization, especially after an undefeated season. Mm-hmm. Is that going to happen for the rest of his coaching tier? No, because now the standards. I use the standard.
Yeah.
Now, Ohio State's been more consistent over the last 20 years within its conference, but IU has a standard I don't think is going to be – I wouldn't be surprised if they win another championship in the next 6 years because they tasted – Cignetti's gotten there now. And then it's easier to recruit. You don't have to recruit. People are going to – his difficulty is like making sure we bring in the right people that's going to be able to govern this culture. But what he said stuck with me. He said same preparation after wins, no matter what. Wins, losses, doesn't matter. It's out the door. Once the clock are zeros, we have to start the standard, right, all over. He said same accountability to win praise, right? And all I can think about is his face, right? And so if you want to have sustainability, you got to have the same preparation, right? You got to have the same accountability, no matter if you've been praised, no matter if you've been destroyed, right? You got to have that same accountability, and you got to have that same hunger when confidence grows. Right. Like, you got to have that. Don't be happy with success. Josh Downs and Caleb Downs, Ohio State safety that's graduated going to the NFL, always talked about that standard. Like, Ohio State won the championship last year, and he made it clear with the other leaders on the team, we're not champions this year. Right. Take all this stuff away. Like, take all this reigning defending stuff out of our preparation, out of our gym. This is a new year, new team, and we got to prove to ourselves. They didn't do that, right? And so you got to be able to have that sustainability. What's one key that you've learned that you can never lose in your mind or a moment that has helped you sustain throughout? Because that's the struggle. A lot of people hold on to their NFL careers because they don't know what's next. But you reached success outside of football. Right. What's the one thing that's helped you sustain success? Not saying you're perfect, because we both failed. We talk about the failures, and we'll share a lot of those in our podcast. But why is Gary successful? Because people wants to be around Gary. Events want Gary to come and speak for them because he's a successful speaker. Companies are working with you because you're successful at developing leaders and giving them a champion blueprint, and champion builders. I'm looking at your shirt right now. The 58 champ builders and CEO champs, right? You do all these different cohorts and mentors. How do you sustain that winning mentality and winning in business and life?
Yeah. So for me, is keeping that day one mentality. Yeah. Right. It's easy for us to live in the past, live in some of those moments, and ultimately try to assume that everyone should give this level of respect because of what you did. Right. Yeah. But for me, yesterday's home runs don't count in today's game. So every day I get up, I have a day one mentality of this is my goal, this is what I want to achieve, and this is the work required to get there. Yeah. And just the work never stops.
Yep. Yep. I think it's important, and we'll wrap up the last 2 minutes here. I think it's important to, especially for IU and any team, sometimes we've done a couple of sports things, wrapping up the season and starting this new year. But I think it's important that when you reach success, you understand that in the beginning you go proving yourself, like proving ourselves that we are winners, proving that our culture is different, proving that blank title, whatever your company's name is, like we're here to stay. And now IU went from proving themselves to now, to me, when we reach success, I always tell people, now that we've proven ourselves, now we have to protect who we are. And that's where you are. When you win, now you're protecting your house, right? You're protecting the standard. You're protecting your vision. You're protecting your culture. you're protecting the expectation that, hey, we're champions.
Yep.
For the rest of your life, you're a champion, right? Now you got to protect that. How do you stay a champion, right? Again, others may, but I may not.
Right.
Can't go to certain places, can't do certain things, right? And so you become that standard. I'm excited for IU. Again, shout out to the champions, 2026 champions, national champions.
Hey.
Never thought I'll say
Congrats.
this. Indiana Hoosiers, to all your fans, to all of my family friends, Gary's family friends, y'all deserve this. The celebration, the parades, everything, all the things that y'all went through, y'all deserve this. Make sure you, as viewers, if you're watching this, one of the things I will say is surround yourself around champions. Surround yourself around people who are doing great things, that have that expectation, that's not afraid of accountability. Gary, any final words for yourself?
Nah, man, we said it all. I think that day one mentality, just, never think you're too big for an opportunity, a moment, a chance to put work in, a chance to get better. I think, those small incremental victories is what add up to those monumental successes.
Yep. The standard isn't what you say, it's who you keep. And so surround yourself around those people that you know is going to keep you accountable, that's going to help you sustain success. It's possible to turn around. You don't need Rudy up north.
Nah, not at all.
When you got Coach Sig at IU, get you a Coach Sig in your life. Until next time, remember to champion your mindset so you can champion your purpose. Let's go.